Good morning, everyone. It doesn't look like we have, hold on a second. Let me fix the Facebook. See, I jinxed us. I said it hasn't been happening, and then it happened. So let me get us back online with Facebook. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Give us a second to get our friends back on Facebook. And let's get rocking and rolling. Here we go. Okay, that should do it. Yes, there we go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha Lori Monaco. Sorry, we had we were not able to get Facebook online right away. It knocked us off. So for those of you that come on YouTube, thank you so much for being here because you get on so rapidly and you always stay on, which is great. Facebook, welcome and good morning. Happy Tuesday. It is the last week of March. And it is basically the first full week of spring. So welcome, everyone. And I did it right when you took a sip. I did it on purpose.
Right when I took a sip. Spring. How were these 2 nights with these beautiful full moons, eh? Did anybody go out and embrace the moon? I think that was so beautiful. 2 nights in a row. So don't say... You don't see gifts. Buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru. So excited. It is the end of March, the first quarter of the year. Voila, it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that exciting? I think that in itself is exciting.
That's interesting. Good morning, Desiree. Good morning, Kathy. I didn't think of it that way. The first quarter is gone. Mm-hmm. That's a lot to take in. Gladiator Guru and I were talking yesterday, and we were talking about how this particular month actually seemed to go slower than usual. Like it seems like it's taken a long time to get to this last week of March. I thought it was just me, but then she said she felt the same exact way. But now when you put it to that perspective, January and February really flew by. So now that we are ending that third quarter, that is pretty. Holy moly, 1 quarter down, three quarters to go. Good morning, Migdalia, welcome. And we're happy that you're here on YouTube. But that just shows you how quick, like even though this particular month might have gone slower for, let's say, Gladiator Guru and I, the quarter's done. We're already a quarter through 2024 when I feel like just yesterday it was like New Year's. Seriously, like I really feel that way.
Time is not our friend. It waits for no one. And we are the only species, us humans, who believe that we have time to finish that, to start that, to have that conversation, to remind someone you love them or you have time to work on your resume. It's whatever it is you think you have time for, you don't. So let's start living in our now and being present in our moment. Because time does not wait. And if you've ever suffered a loss of any kind, then you know that time, it's going to look back, maybe wink at you. Too bad, so sad, I'm out. That's how life is. So it for some, it'll drag. For others, it'll go super fast. But it's gone. For either of us who are thinking time is going by slow or it's going by too fast, the reality is it's gone already. We're like thinking about it in hindsight. Oh my God, where did the month go? Instead of being very active within the month. So, and I'm guilty of it. That's the conversation I was having with the badass Buddha yesterday. How we're all guilty of some sorts, and vulnerability has to step in. And then the reality has to really slap us in the face. Because we are procrastinating. We are thinking we have time. El tiempo. No.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And that's why, like, again, this is the becoming month. It's really making you question on who it is that you are becoming and staying steadfast on being present in your life. I don't even want to say because sometimes sometimes that word is overused. It's just being present in your life and enjoying every moment of it and being true to yourself. That's the becoming. So we're ending that month. This week is we're reinforcing the fact that this is about you, and it's not being self-centered, selfish. It's centered self, meaning that you are the center of your universe. You are the center of your world, which means that everybody around you surrounds you. You are the main person. You are the nucleus of that, of your little world. It's just like each person that is in your world is their own nucleus, and you are a player in their world. And how much you want to contribute to certain individuals or situations is entirely up to you. That's the idea of prioritizing the things that you want in your life, and the people that you want in your life, and what you want to have around you on a daily basis, or weekly basis or monthly basis. But it's about becoming you, making sure that you are becoming the individual that you are meant to be. And even if you feel like you have become that individual, because we're always talking about future, if we're talking about present, that you are that individual. And if you're not that individual, then what are you going to do today to get yourself to become that individual tomorrow? And that doesn't mean that we're always seeking, because that's living in the future. Once you've established that I am very happy being the person that I am, like this is who I am, I'm very happy being that person. And then from there, you live out your daily life. But it's not that you just stay stagnant. You just be who you are and live in that moment. Try different things, go on, do some of the same things that you like to do, but you are absolutely 100% being true to yourself, being who you are. So you have become.
Yes. And remember, it's just like grief, like anything in life, nothing's linear. You're not just going to say, okay, I am becoming this. This is what I want. So this is what I'm going to do to get there. You're going to have those bumps in the road, but they're only there to strengthen you, to enlighten you, just like in The Alchemist, when he went and he got robbed and he was working for the merchant. I mean, we cannot not speak enough about that book because it relates so much to everyday life. But remember, when you're seeking who you are, where you want to be, as who you were, who you want to be, where you want to be, and being grounded in where you are, you have to always reflect and you have to question yourself. Like, is it me? Because we're so quick to say, I just want to let go of all these friendships. They're fake. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm going to tell you, as a person that, as we say in Spanish, no tengo pelo en la lengua, I have no filter. But sometimes we have to take a step back and says, well, what am I contributing? Am I the problem? And we're so quick to say this person's that way and that person's that way. And we have to really take a step back within ourselves and question, am I like, I'm tired of all these people in my life. I want to get rid of them. Well, what are you contributing to that relationship? Why are you tired? It could be the most minute thing, pero mi gente, I'm saying you have to figure out what's your role, no matter how minute it can be in any situation before you drastically make a change. Because I believe in God. I believe in God. I believe in the divine intervention. I believe everything's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen. So if because I'm jealous or insecure of what's going on around me, and I'm like, forget it, I don't want to be with that person, and I remove myself out of my own insecurities, my own low vibrations, then when things don't happen as they should, who am I going to blame? People hating on me? Oh, where was God when I needed him? When we made the decision because of our own insecurities, our own jealousies, our own low vibrations. So before we make any haste and decisions, step back out of yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Because I had a battle with the demon the other day, and it was like, wow, we have to come full circle with who we are, where we are, and what the fuck we're thinking. Because sometimes, remember, this is our worst enemy. Not the person next door, not the one who lied and got the position over you. None of those. this, your thoughts, what you feed your soul is your worst enemy. And then we'll go into the mantra. We just had to say that because I think we have a lot of good stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what we're talking about today, and it's interesting. There's not a lot of viewers on right now, and sometimes I wonder if it's because of the names. Like today is the matrimony, and we're not talking about marriage and the love of your life in the normal sense. We're talking. This whole month has been about you. It's about becoming. And so, what we're talking about specifically is knowing that without you, there is no bond, no family adhesive, no nada. We're talking about the matrimony to oneself. When we talk about getting married, we always, it's always inferred that it's getting married to somebody else. But what we're talking about today is marrying yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't marry anybody else if you're married already. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense in the sense of that we're talking about you making a commitment to yourself. So one of the things that we're going to talk about are vows, because when somebody gets married, they exchange wedding vows, whether they go with traditional wedding vows or they go with their own wedding vows. But if they go with their own wedding vows, actually any vow, that is the verbal commitment. You're telling everyone that is within earshot that this is what you are committing to. Well, we're so steadfast to do that for other people, but yet, have we ever made a vow to ourselves? Have we ever been true to ourselves? Like anything that we've said, have we actually been true to it? So the traditional vows are to have and to hold, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish. And think about those words: have and to hold, better or for worse, richer or poorer, sickness and in health, love and to cherish. What if we applied those to ourselves? What if we actually had a little ceremony one day and just exchanged vows for ourselves, married ourselves, and committed to ourselves to have and to hold, no matter what, you're going to be there for yourself.
Yes.
For better or for worse. Doesn't matter. You could be in the lowest state or you could be in the highest state. Doesn't matter. For richer or poor, doesn't matter what your finances are. You still love yourself. Even if you've made bad choices that have led you to a more challenging financial situation, you still love yourself. Sickness and in health, you honor yourself. You give yourself that space. You know when you're not feeling well to take that restful time. You know when to say no so that you can keep yourself in good health, and to love and to cherish. Like Gladiator Guru always talks about how she gets up in the morning, she kisses herself. To love and to cherish. What is it that you love receiving from other people, from your significant other, let's say? Why can't we do that for ourselves? And those really, those are the most traditional vows, not to mention the vows that people will give that are very specific, which you can do as well.
I think, there is a real thing called a sologamist, and it's self-marriage. And it's exactly what the badass Buddha was saying. Doesn't mean you can't marry going forward. Some people lock themselves into themselves. But this is also, it's all about you. It's like, are you committed? The badass Buddha said, when she said the vows, it was very important, and I hope you felt it. When we commit to another human being, we say, those are very, very, like, you got to live by those words, through sickness and health, I should add through love and hate, because in most marriages, that's what happens, right?
Right.
But in all the other shows that we talked about self, and I say how we never inquire within, and if we do, we only go to a certain depth of ourselves. It's like when you go into the beach, you only go into the water up to your knees because you're afraid the waves are going to pull you in. And that's how we is when we inquire within, where if we only go to a certain amount of depth because we're afraid we're going to be sucked into the unknown. How sad is that? We are afraid to be sucked into the unknown that is you, that is me. Because then we're going to have to face it, fix it, and make it better. But, great rising, Bridget. But what happens when we meet someone and we fall in love with somebody? We learn everything about them. We even know their ugly side, so we know how to work around that so that they don't feel the need to present that ugly side. How many can say that they've done that in their lives? I don't like that saying, but yeah, walk on eggshells around their partner because they might get upset, or stop using a certain cleaner in the house because they don't like the smell. And I mean, the list goes on. When we don't inquire within ourselves, we don't pay regular visits to ourselves. When we are in love, we are constantly present. We don't know where to put them. ¿A dónde te pongo? ¿Quiere aquí? ¿Te peino? ¿Te hago rolo? ¿Qué pasa? So then we're all like, whatever it is that needs to be done to maintain a happy rhythm, we do that. So when you mirror yourself, when you are entregado to yourself, when you are committed to self, you know, you learn, you share, you gather what you need for yourself. You're never hungry. You're constantly living in abundance. Go ahead.
Well, and I think, it's interesting. What if we taught children, like right at a young age, 4 or 5 years old, teach them to marry themselves, teach them to commit to themselves in a very positive way, tell them all these really good things and say, and you're going to commit to yourself. And I would think that the more the child understands this at an early age, and the more that they hear this, and the more that they know that they're committing to themselves, respect. That's one thing that's not on here, love and to cherish, but respect for yourself. If you create these vows for yourself at a young age, what is that? How does that translate to when you become older? Because then the next vows that come into your life are the vows, if you're going to get married, and you already have the bar set very high. In fact, that bar set as you're dating. So, and as you're becoming friends with people, so that you understand yourself so clearly. And then that means that everybody that is in your space is going to follow suit. Now, we can't go back in time and fix that as children. So all we can do is do that today. So that if we make vows to ourselves, for ourselves, about ourselves, and then take those vows and then ask yourself, have I been there for myself, better or for worse? Have I been there for richer or poorer? Have I been there in sickness and health? Have I loved and cherished myself? Have I respected myself? So it would probably be a fun exercise for you to do this weekend, is to write your own vows for yourself. And then decide when you're actually going to exchange them with yourself. Like it's not just you're going to sit there and say them out loud. You're going to write them, and then you're going to go someplace beautiful, someplace that you find absolutely beautiful, and exchange them outwardly, like say it out loud so that it can be heard. You don't have to do it in front of a group of people if you don't want to, but could you imagine that? Like finding that one spot that is just beautiful to you. See, for me, it would be just on a nice, beautiful, warm morning when the sun is coming up, and finding a spot where I could see the sun coming up through the mountains, and then say that out loud to myself. I could be sitting in my car doing this. It doesn't matter. But it matters because I am in the space that I want to be. I'm seeing what's in front of me, and then I'm saying those words. And then from there, look at your space and decide the players in this space. Are they the people that I do want to, are they also honoring and cherishing me? Are they for better or for worse? Like all of that stuff. Are they respectful to me? Because if I'm going to commit to myself and have those vows for myself, then I deserve to have that respect from other people. And if it's not possible, if the people cannot give me love or respect or honor me or just accept me for who I am at this moment in time, then do I really need to be around those individuals? And when Gladiator Guru was talking about before that sometimes we are the contributors, it goes the same way, that if you yourself cannot be honoring or respecting to an individual, then you have to pull yourself away from that individual. Because think of it from their perspective too, that they're saying their vows. And if you are not going to provide them with that, then you need to pull yourself away, because it's not fair to them as well. Because it's, I mean, I look back at some of the things that, you know, some of the choices that I made over the last couple of years. I don't want to say I'm not proud of it. It's just, it wasn't me. It didn't represent the person that I choose to be. However, in that moment in time, that was how I reacted. I can't take it back. It is what it is. But the overall understanding of why I did what I did, or said what I said, or acted the way I did, had everything to do with how I truly felt about the situation. And so with that in mind, I have to be honoring to myself to say, that situation has not changed. The way I feel about that situation has not changed. So in order for me to continue to become the person that I choose to be and honor myself, I have to pull myself away from that situation and step outside of it, because it is dishonoring to myself to not allow myself to be the person I want to be. But it's also dishonoring to the situation and anyone involved, because I could be, and not can be, I would be disrespecting them. So it's one of those things where it's agree to disagree, respectfully pull away, say, you know what, I'm going to live my life over here. You live your life over here. I'm not going to say anything. You're not going to say anything. Or really, you can't control the other person or people. But the thing is to say, you do you, I do me, and then let's just leave it at that. But I look back and say, I would react differently if the situation came about again, or situations. But it still doesn't change what I think about it and how I feel, because I still feel the same exact way. It's just how to handle yourself. And the thing is that when you honor yourself by recognizing all of the parts of you, the good and the challenging parts, or the bad, we could just say it. When you look at those things and you take that step back and honor yourself and make that commitment to yourself, and say, I'm going to do better. You know, do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. Just like Maya Angelou said, sometimes we know better and still do not do better, but it's because we did not commit to ourselves and say, okay, in order for me to do better, I have to move over here. I have to establish my location, or anything. I just have to reestablish, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, because it's more in alignment with me. And for those that, or those situations that don't align with you, then you move away from them. And it takes time, because sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes you're ingrained in a very bad marriage and you don't know how to get out because you're financially committed, or ingrained with that person. You don't know what to do. But when you respect yourself, the answers will present themselves. Just remember that when you respect yourself and you start committing to yourself and say, I am not happy in this relationship, I no longer wish to be in this relationship, so I am going to love myself and get what I feel that I have been disrespected about. I am going to love myself, and I'm going to create the life that I want to live. And then all of a sudden things they will start to open up for you. Do you agree with that, Gladiator Guru? Do you agree?
Only when you stop lying to yourself. When you admit your role in whatever situation you're at, whether you're facing the reflection in the mirror, you cannot change position, location, or person until you acknowledge your role, your fuck up in the relationship, whether with self or anybody else.
Yes.
Mostly with self, because see, when you pretend when you fake it till you make it, and we all know I don't like that, you actually fall into that role without making any changes. So I think what you said is true. When you no longer know you fit, even for yourself, you got to take a step back. It's just like with therapy. When you go to therapy, if you lie to the therapist, you're never going to get assistance. You're never going to get the guidance. So you have to stop with the line of self of being a victim, because when you don't admit that you're wrong and you don't apologize, whether to yourself especially, I'm sorry, Margarita, that I kept us here in this horrible situation longer than I should have. You see, what
Yeah.
happens is you're removing of putting the blame on someone else for making you unhappy.
Right.
And
Exactly.
you're acknowledging the fact that you, regardless of the financial, emotional, physical situation, you kept yourself there
Yes.
with the excuses of financialness, of I don't have a car, I won't know where to go, but my kid's school's over here, and if I go stay at my sister's house, I'm gonna have to. Those are excuses for you not to make the move you need to make, and to keep blaming the other person for being who they are. See, when we get so mad at somebody for being who they are, whether it's hurting us or harming us, hindering us, but you got to honor that they're being who they are, because that's what we talk about, is be true to who you are. We never said it was going to be cute all the time.
Yes.
But a person who that little peacock with the feathers all out, whether the feathers are cruel, rude, or very, very kind, it's still true to who they are. The only false one here is you, for coming up with excuses to stay in a situation you know your ass should have left a long time ago. Because when you, I'm sorry, when you admit that there's this and that going on, before you marry yourself, because when you marry yourself, that means you are committing to self in every emotion. Every emotion. When you are an insecure person, that you're jealous of everyone around you, whether you wanted to do that or not, you're just jealous that they're doing something and you're not. That's through sickness and in health. Okay? That's the vows you're taking on. So that sickness you got to work on. You know you have an illness, because you cannot expect to get 5 feet towards your destination when you're too busy wishing this person would halt their blessing, because it's making you uncomfortable that they're doing something and you're not. And you can say, oh, that don't happen. When you're sitting with yourself, by yourself, without me in your ear, reflect on you, because we've all been there at some point or another.
Yep.
And if you have been there and you know in your heart that that is something you had to go through to come out on the other side, then celebrate yourself. If you know you're still there, but your mouth is moving, telling everybody you're not, you're lying to yourself. Because when you lie to yourself, you believe it, but other people see it. See, remember, your actions speak louder than your words. So heal. When you commit to yourself in a sense that you want to demand respect and recognition for your hard work and for your mere existence from everyone around you, they will treat you how you allow them to treat you. You know how they're going to treat you? How they see you treating you. So
Mm.
when you commit to yourself, Marcus
So
Aurelius, we all know I love Marcus Aurelius. He says, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears.
mm.
So if you reject all that insecurities, all that jealousy, all that self hatred, because when you hate on someone else, it's something you're hating in yourself. The guts not to make a change, the cowardice to keep making excuses and staying stuck there and then hating everyone around you who's actually moving on with their lives. You're choosing to stay stuck. You're choosing to be miserable. You're choosing to fill your life with excuses instead of action. And when that happens, when you learn all all the way you gotta go when you're marrying. You gotta fix the bridal, the gown, the this, the that, making sure his family's sitting at the right table. When you put all that energy into this wedding, this one day of fear, take it and put it all inside you. Invest all that time, all that wisdom, all those ideas, all that beauty of design into you. You know, I'm sure you hit it on the nose, but there's not a lot of people because of the wedding dresses we're wearing in our thing. But curiosity should have got the best of them.
Maybe they thought we were coming out. Maybe they thought we were coming out and we were going to marry each other.
If you know the show, Hola Milagrito, then you know my blog that I'm constantly posting on Facebook because I need to stir up people. Be ridiculously curious. I'm always curious. People are like, oh, you're nosy. No, I'm inquisitive. Boom. Why? Because I like to know. I like to know whether something's for me or not. Instead of just saying, oh, somebody mentioning, oh, I don't know. I don't think I would like that. No, I'm curious. So when you're filled with sickness, what is sickness? A cold, the flu, cancer, diabetes? No. Sickness is that self-doubt, that self-sabotaging mentality that we carry around with us, that I had for the past couple of days. You know, sickness is that lack of self-care, because if it's lacking, that means it's not there. So you're empty, leaving room for disease and corrosion to happen within you. When you marry yourself, you are so committed to yourself that there is no space or gaps for any of that good energy to just be of waste. And that's what we do when we don't take care of ourselves. It robs you of your day's light.
Can we address, Desiree wrote two big long things. So let's read the first one. It says, I may be taking this quite literally, but I have felt like I have been loving myself, but I have not really. I stopped wearing makeup every day because I don't always go out and I don't always get dressed for the same reason. Cook a nice meal, fix my hair, use good product, lotions, even shave as regularly as that I would have if I had a partner looking. These things are all acts of self-love and things that make me happy and make me feel good about myself. I am stripping myself from self-love because I thought I did commit to self. I justified not doing makeup to save money, getting dressed to save laundry. Not good though. I must do these things for self-love. I must. These things make me feel better, fix my hair, and then I feel ready to leave the house, and maybe I won't be so isolated, and maybe I won't be so anxious about leaving the house. Oh yeah, absolutely. And she ended with, I lied to myself. Yeah, it is.
No, you didn't.
We get, and that's beautiful. First off, congratulations for coming to that.
Yeah, that's why I went like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I'm not one to always put makeup on. You know, and the thing is that I don't like to always, because it's not a matter of, it doesn't make me feel good or bad. I go either way. If I feel like getting dressed up, I'll get dressed up. But I did notice that since I started networking, like physically getting out of the house, people and forcibly getting myself to get changed and dressed, that it definitely has changed things for me. It's shifted my energy. And it was a necessity. And I almost feel like that's why I got ill the week before, because it was almost like my body was just for a whole month straight. I was out and about, meeting people, going places, getting dressed up, being on, because I don't know how to not be when I'm in those situations. I'm very extroverted, but I'm both. So it took a little toll on me. And I'm convinced that part of that sickness was not just it wasn't like a flu or anything, because it didn't follow any criteria. It followed its own little criteria. But I feel like it was my body's way of saying, okay, we need some downtime. And not to mention, I did meet, most of the people I met were really phenomenal, but there were a few people that I met that I felt are really like, woo, and I met them more than once. I was in their space more than once. And I thought to myself, this is an individual that something about them. I mean, I'm going to play it. I'm not going to judge them, but I'm just going to play it cautiously, that I'm not going to be so forthcoming and want to connect with them because there's something there that's blocking, you know. And I'm almost like, there's this part of me that truly believes that the reason I got knocked out last week with this fever and exhaustion had everything to do with all of that. So now I'm back in the space, and I'm going to be actually going somewhere today, but taking it easy this week. But it's because I've worked a lot on myself to know myself. And so if I'm feeling this and sensing it, then I've got to listen to it. And in the past, I wouldn't. In the past, I would ignore it. I would, oh, who cares? That gut feeling, this person is, you know, pretty cool, and they're whatever. And I would completely just push away from it. Now, there is a difference between when I was very insecure, I would also get bad vibes from people that I was intimidated by. But that has gone by the wayside. I don't feel intimidation anymore because I know who I am. And if I meet somebody that might have like a ridiculous amount of money, because that used to intimidate me a little bit, it makes no difference to me, because in the end, I look at it and say, it doesn't matter if you have $1 in your bank account, no bank account, or if you have millions in your bank account, or anywhere in between, we're all the same. Like, we're the same people. We might have different thoughts, but we're the same. We feel the same. We act the same. We have bad habits, good habits. So that part right there, that was my becoming. That's the person I wanted to become, is to be so okay with who I am that nothing intimidates me anymore. Because if somebody acts pompous to me and says, well, I'm smarter than you, I'm like, well, probably, maybe, could be, because I'm never going to be the smartest person in the room, but I'm never going to be the dumbest person in the room. I'm never going to be the richest person in the room, but I'm never going to be the poorest person in the room. I mean, that's how I look at it now. And it's great to come from that perspective. So it's, Desiree, good for you, because you have to do you. You know, if you're saying that doing your hair and fixing it up and putting makeup on and getting dressed does make you feel better, then yeah, do it. Go out, strut, you know, walk around and just be yourself. And people's reactions are really amazing, because they're not seeing you for the hair that you did and the clothes you're wearing. They're seeing the you behind all of that. They're feeling that vibrational energy when you walk around.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, Desiree. I need to ask you though, what part of this conversation brought you that you've lied to yourself? Because you're saying, I thought I did commit to myself, but so whether you choose to wear makeup or not is totally you. That tells of the confidence level you.
That's like Milagros. Milagros always talks about that. Milagros says she doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't. And Milagros is just this beautiful little powerhouse. Well, she's not little. She's just this beautiful powerhouse, very sexual being, very just so brilliant and wise. And she shows up as she wants to show up. She always jumps in and says, you know, I do this and I don't do that. And
yeah, you don't have to. When you walk with confidence and with every step you take, it doesn't matter if you have makeup on, if your hair's pulled back, gelled up in a ponytail. What matters is your aura. What matters is what you're bringing forth in energy. Well, it all depends. Remember, Desiree, don't be too hard on yourself, because there's seasons. Every season, there's a change. Look at nature. Yes, Milagros. You know, you have spring. We're coming into spring now, and then you have summer, then you have autumn, then you have winter. We go through those same seasonal changes where for 1/4 of the year, we're on it. Hair done every day, makeup done, and then we take a break, which your skin needs it, your hair needs it. So don't look at yourself as you're giving up on yourself, that you lied about loving yourself. We are all spirits of seasons, and there's a season for everything. So keep loving yourself through the lows and highs, because you got to vibrate. When you vibrate, like I said earlier, everything's not linear. Everything's not, oh, I did it. I'm not intimidated by people anymore. I don't lie to myself anymore. No, it's like this because you're gonna meet a motherfucker. You're gonna be like, I'm just not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. How you doing? And you walk away to avoid jail, right?
Like Medea. Might be a Medea.
So
She just goes, it's quiet.
So when you No, don't. Well, then don't self-talk to yourself in that way if it bothers you. But if it doesn't, you said you shave like anything. I don't. I haven't. I've been celibate
I
going on
know my
5 years.
legs are so hairy.
I
Oh,
shave
please,
when I want. And let me see. Look at that's just because
Yeah.
somebody said something. I think my son. But no, I don't shave. And
My son said something.
because it's like, yeah, he's like, you want me to braid that? He says something like that. He's such an asshole. But you have to love yourself in every phase that you're in. This is what we're talking about. When we say, oh, I haven't taken care of myself, I'm not doing the self-care, it has some perception on what others think, because you should know, or you will want to meet that person within. And that's what we're all working for, is to fully meet the individual, that spirit that drives us, that we confuse with our minds. When you fully commit to yourself, you're gonna see, that's a habit I have that's very ugly, or I didn't realize how that's not so good, or look at how brilliant, and I've overlooked the brilliance of when I do this, of when I make this. Like when you cook, certain people can cook a certain dish that if they really put themselves out there, there'll be lines around the corner for it. Because I know there's certain dishes people in my family cook that is like I would drive there for the drop of a hat. So everybody has that specialty in them, and it doesn't have to be a cooking. God knows I don't cook, but you got to celebrate everything about yourself. Celebrate it like a big wedding day, like an anniversary, like your birthday. You have to celebrate who you are in every phase that you are fully awake and walking through. Don't walk with blinders on in certain seasons of your life and then say you're not happy in it. Not you, Desiree. I got to clear that because there's been misconceptions. But you have to, you, meaning all of us, take the blinders off, walk through all the phases of our life, because that's all we can control. That's all we can handle. And do we really have control? I don't, because I believe in Elohim, in Yahweh. I believe he guides me. So I don't have to, lean not on your own understanding, says the Lord. So I try to be like, I don't know, God, what do you think about this? Let me make you laugh today. These are my plans. That's my relationship. But however you have, people believe they're the only ones here. But you have to say, this is the season where I don't want to do anything, but I'm going to work on this. And you work on I'm sure you're working on other things in your life, not only on this. So give yourself that grace. What are you doing? Are you gardening? Are you pruning for the spring flowers to come up? Are you tending to your grandchildren?
You don't have to do your hair to do the yard work.
Remind yourself that you are being productive in your life in other areas.
Here, let's see. This is what she said. She said, I do it with a man. I don't do it for me. What makes this potential dude so good and not me? And then she added, but I used to do it for me always. I stopped. That's what I mean. It makes me feel depressed that I don't care about myself, and I gain weight and I eat bad. It adds to other things that are bad for my wellness or unwellness. Because what it is you are self-sabotaging. You are beating yourself up because you don't believe you are worth it. But when somebody else comes into your life, you put the extra effort in because you're doing it for them. So that's what we're saying is we want you to make the vow to yourself to say, I am worth it. So if you're saying that getting dressed up or getting dressed in decent clothes, shaving, doing your hair, makeup, that makes you feel good about yourself, then that is what you're going to do today. You're going to do that today. What I'm saying is that even when I was dating somebody or with somebody, I didn't always shave my legs, especially in the wintertime. When I got pants on all the time, what the hell's the reason for? But in the summer, when it gets warmer and I start wearing...
I don't think she's referring to legs.
No, she's not referring to legs. She's referring to the bigger picture. Oh, she's talking about, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But even then, it's like, it's, if you want to keep doing that, then you do it. See, and that's what I think Gladiator Guru and I were talking about with comparing to what you're talking about. We know for ourselves what's the priority. So we don't care if we don't shave on a particular day. We don't care if we don't put makeup on or we dress really crappy, because down inside we still feel a certain way. So if you're equating how you feel to what is also being presented for yourself, not for others, then yes, then push yourself out of that comfort zone. And then once you do, when you get back into your routine, you will feel a lot better. But make sure that you're doing it specifically for yourself. If you're doing it to push yourself, to get yourself out of that depressed state, then you go out with an expectation of having people, and I know you wrote that before, you don't care about other people's perception. We have to make sure that we're not lying to ourselves, because sometimes we do. You know, like I go to these networking things and my goal is to be very boho when I show up. Not because I'm trying to prove a point, because that is what I want to represent of myself and my business. And I'm not going to show up in a suit. You know, there's people that show up and they got the dress suit, the jacket on. Don't get me wrong, I love those. And I actually like wearing that stuff too. But for me, that is not what I feel most comfortable in. When I show up, I want to show up as me. I want them to see me, because that energy is going to align, and they're going to feel it. And I've already seen it because of comments that people have made to me, that they love my energy. I'm bringing like an energy that nobody's brought to these groups before. I mean, what is that? Like, it was so unexpected to hear that, but it was wonderful, because that was my goal. But the goal wasn't for them. The goal was for me to show up as the best version of me. And what does that mean to me? It means that I want to dress this way, and this represents me. There was a time where I showed up in jeans to one of the networking things, because I was leaving. I'm like, should I change? You know, should I put the dressier pants on? I'm like, no, like, this is me. I'm going to put a nice shirt on. I'm going to be all, you know, everything else is going to look good, and I'm going to speak. And that's me. And you know what? Other people show up with jeans too. I hadn't noticed that until then. So
it's how you dress them.
What?
It's how you dress them. But I remember in my journal, on one of the pages in my journal, it's a really big question that when I say it, people laugh. But it's big. You know why people laugh when you ask them a certain question? Because they don't know how to answer it.
Yeah.
And the question is, if you can be anything in this life, in this world that we have right now, what would you wear? And they just like, oh, whatever. What would you wear? Because what you're comfortable in dressing in, when you go anywhere, you will be the best you can possibly be. There's nothing hindering you, tightening you, feeling snagged, nothing. If you can be anything, what would you wear? Now pick whatever it is you want. If you want to be an astronaut, you got to wear a freaking astronaut outfit, right? You can't wear anything else. You can't wear jeans and boots. You got to wear that outfit. So you wearing them jeans, it also boosted your confidence because you feel comfortable.
Yes.
And when we are comfortable in who we are, where we go, then our energy flows beautifully. It flows like a raging waterfall, on purpose and in its element. But you have to be comfortable.
But the key thing is because the reason I can show up in the jeans is because I know who I am, and I no longer give a rat's ass about what other people think of me. So if I showed up to a place and everybody else was in suits and I was in jeans, and there were some catty people looking at me going, oh, like, what the hell? Like, she's very casual.
Because you've been there before, right?
Because
you showed up dressed up the way you wanted.
And because the thing is,
and people criticize you, and it made you next time rethink.
Yeah, it's just like a rich person, like filthy rich person, showing up at the Ferrari or Porsche car dealer dressed with like a bum. And then the person who's got barely anything and is just living off credit shows up with the full suit because they're trying to portray something. Whereas the person with the jeans and the bummy clothes is that person. They are that person. They don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know, like all these, if you ever see some of these very wealthy, high-powered guys, especially, they're always in like a t-shirt and like a pair of jeans. I mean, look at Steve Jobs. He used to wear a turtleneck and a pair of jeans. That's all he wore. The one that Mark Zuckerberg, the one for Facebook, t-shirt and pair of jeans, because they know who they are deep down. It's like they don't have to show up. This is what makes them comfortable. If you're going to judge them according to that, they really don't care, you know. And my business, it would be different if my business was about fashion. My business was about creating image. Then damn right I got to show up. You know, if I'm going to not show up and be like in that, then there would be a little hesitation to somebody to hire me, I would imagine. But if I'm saying, listen, I'm a retreat center, a wellness center. We focus on meditation. We focus on mindfulness. We focus on balance. We focus on creating a healthier you, a more natural you. Then I am going to represent myself in a natural form. And if somebody has an issue with me, guess what? They're not going to be a referral person. They're not going to be a collaborator. They're not going to be a patient or a client. And I'm fine with that because I will find the people that want to.
Yeah, but that's why you do what you're good at. That's why you do what comes natural. You can't have a wellness center when you're a sweatsuit person because you're always going to feel uncomfortable faking it in the outfit of the wellness center. And I say this with all, like, for anyone who's trying to find their niche. When you dress for the job, you know, in your soul you're supposed to do, it's a natural feeling. That's why Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs dressed the way they did. They didn't do it like, I'm going to dress down because I'm rich. No, they did it because that's what they were comfortable in. They did it. And they did what they did. And they got criticized. Oh, they always got the same outfit on. Who gives a shit? What happens is, for the people in poverty, stay in poverty because they want to pretend that they got money.
That's right.
You're living in the project wearing Jordans and on Gucci belts and all this shit. Let's call it. I know people who do that. Now, going back to being who you are. When I came up with that question, if you can be anything, what would you wear? It's because I would dress up and have all my diamonds on and whatever on my hair and go to Walmart because that's how I was feeling that day. I woke up feeling diamondish. I woke up feeling red lipstick. I woke up feeling no lipstick because I am true to my true essence of being forever. And even my kids would say, oh, here she goes again. Since they were little, I've always showed up and showed out in whatever I woke up feeling in my true essence that day. And do people look at you? Look at me. Let's give them something to talk about. Because I never gave a shit about anybody outside of me because I'm not hurting anybody. But I was always being true to who I was, to who I am. And I still do that. Let me tell you something. I've written blogs about my beautiful, long, black, silky gypsy hair. If you're ever interested, go read my blogs. Loved it. Then I decided to shave my head out the blue. And I'm walking around. I had a conversation with my son yesterday. I said, do you know what, son? This transformation that I did it has placed me in many different rooms. And I've observed a lot of people. Now, it don't matter where my weight fluctuated. I would walk in a room. I always had people's attention, always. And with my hair short and lately, Desiree, because I'm busy getting my art room together, my studio together, I haven't been. My hair's been just like wetted. I put some oil in it. It's been, I look like the wife of Up, the old man, right? That's how I feel. But how people perceive you like that, it's like, wow, I'm learning so much just of humanity. No matter what age they are, they look at me in a different light. And I laugh because I'm like, wow, Like now I have something to go on, not what I'm reading, no statistics, actual life experiences. So, I mean, I went gray, I chopped it off. And you know what's the beautiful part of owning your now and being in your present and being true to who you are at all costs? Is that you can make any change you want whenever you want. People don't need to hold you. Oh, why'd you do that? Why didn't you do that? My son said, you're going through a midlife crisis when I shaved my head. But you know what? Let me tell you something. It was an experience. And when it's time for me to go black again, which I know I am, I'm going to love it. And I'm going to be, woo, because I can do that. Because I own my now. And I am in my present. And I show up when I want and how I want. And I have been criticized all my life. But guess what? I'm steadfast, dedicated to self. I don't owe anybody explanations, and I don't owe apologies for who I am or how I am, and I show up. And I am the best me that I can possibly be when I show up the way I feel. Like I don't want to put a blazer on. I don't want to wear my shirt tucked in because I don't like my shirts tucked in. So I have to go to places where that is not a rule. I'm not going to get a job where I have to wear a uniform and tuck a shirt in because that's not what I do. Right? So be true to who you are and don't give a shit. If you're so worried about, oh my God, if I go here, they're going to say this, they're going to look at me like this, they're going to do that, they're going to do this, then who are you? Keep your ass home. And don't pretend to be something you are not because you're setting yourself up for failure. Not me. If you come out one day and you're sitting across from me pretending to be something, I'm going to go home and handle my shit. You're going to go home to more emptiness than you left with. And it's going to add to more insecurities, where it's going to add to more jealousy. So please invest the time in learning who you are. Invest the time in making yourself happy. Invest the time in learning that you can be the best you can possibly be, wearing what you want to do, shaved or not, and show up 100% you. And that's who you find who your people are. When you walk in your truth, it doesn't take so much time and effort and money to meet people. Like me, look at me, I'm this. No, you walk in there, it's going to come. It's like a magnet. But this advice I'm giving myself, I got to put myself out. I've self-isolated so long, I barely go anywhere. I'm in the same routine. When I go out, and then that'll happen. So, thank you. But yeah, so I hope I answered that. She spoke, hola prima, she spoke on going out in the energy, and it's very important. I protect my energy at all costs. When somebody's like, oh my God, your energy is so good, I always take a step back. I don't want them in my sphere. Energy is easily taken from you. So when people notice it, be like, yes, I know, all day. Back the fuck up. I'm saying in my head. I've had too many bad experiences with people trying to take my energy. But it's good that they notice, because then you're in the right place at the right time. You are where you're supposed to be. So that's perfect for you, badass. And so you just know how to clear your way. Breathe in that confidence and take a step, and people will walk away, will step away from you, because they'll honor that energy.
So take some time today. We're at the end. So take some time today to write your vows to yourself. Take, the rest of the week, the weekend, because on Thursday's conversation is independent AF, as F, independent as F. Being aware that you are solely and completely an individual first. And in order for you to really embrace that, you really have to commit to yourself. So if you can write your vows between now and Thursday, that would be great. But if not, you just take till throughout the weekend. But definitely commit to yourself. This is your life. This is about you. And if you haven't made that commitment yet, it's not too late. You just have to do it. And you have to decide who it is that you are becoming, who you are now and who that you are choosing to be. Right?
Because really, that's what it's all about, right? Who are you? And you know what? Let me tell you a secret, mi gente. You only got you. There's only one of you. So learn it or not. But when you learn it, you bring joy, you bring kindness, you bring gratitude into your life.
Mm-hmm.
You also bring forgiveness, which sets the tone. When you choose not to learn who you are or embrace the oneness of yourself, you will always be with chaos. There will always be drama and trauma and pain because you're leaving yourself out. So, I mean, the choice is always individually ours. Choose yourself.
Choose
And then
yourself.
take however long you need to learn yourself, but at least stay on track. And you might spend a great amount of time learning that specific part of you. It's okay. Take all the time you need. You're all you got.
With that, we are going to close out for the day. We hope you take advantage of yourself today and take yourself out and enjoy yourself and spend some great time with yourself. So thanks so much for being here today. We'll see you on Thursday. So from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, and Desiree, God is always good. And thank you. And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.